Dave, just a little bit of information, if you can, about Alex Wood. When did he start experiencing that shoulder inflammation?
I think it's actually been a couple weeks from what I hear, and so he just felt that he can continue to go through his workouts in the weight room, bullpens, and obviously make his start. And just after that start, didn't feel great. And then also were fortunate enough to have information on, his arm slot dropping a little bit. And that's kind of, is a notifier. So we just felt that just to kind of be smart, get a scan, which we did, that was clear. And then now just to put him on the DL. Don't really have a timetable right now, but I think for us, I expect him back, soon.
Did you guys try to talk him out of making that initial start, or did you not believe it was that severe, I guess?
No, we just felt that he could make it and wouldn't compromise health. And so that's why we decided to go ahead with it.
Was Josh already on the way to Houston, or how did he get in the mix?
He was at the secondary site. And then once we found out that Woody wasn't feeling well, then we just kind of put Josh on alert. And fortunately, with leaving later in the day yesterday, we got him to make that flight along with Victor Gonzalez, Rocky Gale, and Zach McKinstry. Those last three will be on the taxi.
Okay. And Dave, just last question for me. With everything going on in Marlins camp, you guys also taking your first road trip, does that lend itself to any more insecurity or uncertainty as a better word for you guys?
Uncertainty, I think, is appropriate. I do know that our guys are taking it seriously, not to say that, another club wasn't, but, obviously with this spike right now, it kind of hits home for all of us and could eventually affect the seasons, which we're trying to guard against. But I think our guys are really dead set on going to from the hotel to the ballpark and back to the hotel and kind of keep it really simple and minimize associating with others.
Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
Next question's from Dave Vassegh. Go ahead, Dave.
Dave, did Alex make the trip with you guys to Houston, or is he back in LA?
He's back in LA.
And just on the surface, it looks like your rotation's a little thin with Kershaw and Wood both being on the IL. Where is Tony Gonsolin in his buildup? Is he starting to get to a point where he possibly could be a reinforcement for you?
Yeah, I think that, right now we have some options. Obviously, Tony, Mitchell White, Josiah Gray, Victor Gonzalez, if need be. So we're going to leave it open, but Clayton is expected to throw a bullpen today, and so we'll know more after today. But I'm expecting him back sometime really soon.
Okay, thank you.
You got it.
Next question's from Jorge Castillo. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jorge.
Dave, one of the uncertainties going into the season was how pitchers are going to be built up, right? There were, 4 months of kind of just being on their own. I know it might be tough to pin down what happened to Alex, but do you suspect that could have been a problem? Maybe overthrowing, not properly getting ready for the season.
I don't think so. I think that Alex finished the season last year with an injury, so took some rest, got healthy, went to Driveline and worked on some mechanical things, got his body right. And from that point on, I think January on, he was throwing and trying to get back to where he needed to be. So the ramp, I think, was very gradual. He was in a good place. And this is not anything that's serious. It's just more something that just kind of popped up. And we feel good that he'll be back to throwing the baseball the way he was and be healthy. So I don't think it was this particular situation that caused that.
And just to make sure, would Clayton line up to replace him in the rotation on Friday if all goes well?
If all goes well, we don't know. It's certainly a possibility. But, I think that we're still trying to just make sure that he gets through this today and we'll make a decision. But it is a possibility.
You mentioned Victor Gonzalez as a possibility to start. I know he recently was a reliever, but do you guys see him as a starter?
Yeah, long term, I think we do. But this year, you've got to kind of look at it as an outlier, and whatever you see a certain player in a role, but looking at this year and kind of what can help you this season. So yeah, Victor's built up to 3 innings, maybe 4. So it's an option. So, whether you have to kind of piecemeal it Friday or whatever, or if it's Clayton or whatever. But yeah, Victor, we certainly see as a starter long term.
Thank you.
Next question is from Bill Plunkett. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, Dave, I'll throw out another possibility about Friday. Julio would be on normal rest. Would you consider starting him then, or are you trying to still be very cautious with your usage?
Yeah, we're going to keep Julio with that extra day, so he'll start on Saturday.
Okay. And with the news with the Marlins, did the team change anything health and safety protocol wise in going forward? Will the travel be any different? Anything?
No, we didn't change anything, and I think that our guys have really been on top of it, staying ahead of it, and the players and coaches have done a great job, adhering to protocol. So I think we are very rightfully so, very conservative. So nothing that we've learned recently has changed that.
Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
Next question's from Bill Plaschke. Go ahead.
Yeah, Doc, how do you expect your team to handle the emotions of tonight? Do you expect retaliation? Do you expect anger? Do you expect anything extra because of all they've been through?
I think that seeing that team, even coming into the ballpark, it brought up some memories. I think everybody is going to feel differently. I know that both teams, players, players were vocal this past winter. But a lot of time has passed. Doesn't change the history, the past of what happened. But I think right now the focus is and has to be on whatever it takes to win tonight. And so I don't expect any kind of, people have alluded to intentionally throwing at a player. I don't see that happening. I just don't want to take away our focus from winning tonight and tomorrow.
Are you still angry?
Angry, probably not angry. I mean, I still believe that the result of 17 would have been different. But it's hard for me to keep myself in that place because it's not too helpful.
And you said earlier you weren't going to talk to the team about anything. Did the reactions they had coming into the ballpark, would that change your opinion? Are you still not going to talk to them?
No, it doesn't change it. I think that, yeah, when you get back to, where all this stuff took place, it certainly takes you back a few years. Yeah. But I still don't think I need to address it with our guys. They're doing a good job right now of getting ready for the game. And I don't think there's any chatter about 2017.
Thank you, Dave.
You got it.
I have another question from Jorge Castillo. Go ahead.
Dave, how long can Walker go tonight?
The most he's thrown up into this point is 4 innings, and it was in a simulated game. So I think probably the most is a 5 and 75. But that's still, you got to layer in the emotion of a regular season game, the stress of an inning potentially. So, yeah, I mean, I think that, if you look at it, 5 and 75, but I think that there's a little bit more to, where he ultimately ends up.
And Dave, in an ideal world, this matchup would be all anyone's talking about, right? The idea of the Astros going up against the Dodgers. But everything going on, the possibility that not even every team will play 60 games this season. I know we talked about the World Series and, whether it would be worth less in any way before the season started. But do you think the integrity of the season is kind of falling apart the further we go along here?
Well, I'd like to think that, well, first of all, I don't think that we expected this season to be unscathed and for us to not have any roadblocks. I hope that this is the worst, as bad as it gets. Obviously, canceling or postponing games isn't ideal. To the question of the integrity, I think right now I'm going to withhold judgment until we know more as far as how things play out. But 60 is a small sample as it is. And when you start to get under that number, it changes, I think a lot of people's opinions.
Thank you.